Hey guys, tonight we step into the cold, creaking dark of a forgotten medieval night. There's no moon tonight, just the endless hush of falling snow and the flickering halo of lanterns swaying from crooked wooden poles. You pull your cloak tighter. The wind tastes like iron. A shadow moves just ahead, and someone's footsteps disappear around a stone corner. You're not sure if you're alone or being quietly welcomed. You probably once survived this midnight market. It's not meant for people like you, clean, curious, modern. But here you are, following the smoke and whispers, hungry for something warm. Or something strange. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And hell, let me know in the comments, where are you listening from? And what time is it for you? Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. The market never opens with a bell. You know you've arrived not because someone says so, but because the road narrows. Your boots crunch over a path of packed ice and soot, and a curtain of thick wool, mildewed, damp, and breathing, sways open in the windless night. Someone, a shape no taller than your shoulder, reaches out from behind the cloth and tugs at your sleeve. No words. Just a nod. You don't see their face. Only the gleam of frost caught in their eyelashes. Past them, lanterns burn low and lazy over crooked stalls patched with hide and straw. The smoke smells like burnt bread, grease, and old wood. You walk carefully, stones beneath you are slick, as if the market breathes heat from beneath the snow, melting its own bones. A boy with a soot-smeared face is roasting something over a fire, some sort of meat, maybe. It pops loudly in the flames, and he flips it with a stick, not looking up. Beside him, a woman sells roasted chestnuts in a tin can with no bottom, set directly on the coals. A sharp wind cuts through the space between stalls. You inhale through your scarf, but the air still tastes like burnt onion and ash. It's not unpleasant. Just unfamiliar. In the corner of your eye, a lantern flickers and then dies with a hiss. No one seems surprised. You step closer to a stall made entirely of bones and bits of broken cart wheels. Its merchant, a man in 4 mismatched boots, is asleep, arms folded, mouth open. Behind him, baskets of root vegetables steam gently in the cold. Then, you hear it, a soft melody. A hum that's barely there, coming from somewhere deeper inside the maze of stalls. It pulls at something behind your ribs. You turn. But before you can move, someone taps your shoulder. You spin too fast. No one is there. Just a single loaf of steaming bread, resting on the edge of a stone ledge, alone, like a gift or a warning. You move past the bread, but somehow, the memory of its warmth clings to your fingers as if you touched it anyway. The night thickens here. The deeper you walk, the more the market folds around you like a coat stitched from steam and whispers. The stalls seem closer together now, the pathways narrower, and each step sounds like a secret being told. A kettle whistles somewhere, not sharp, but low, like a groan held back. You pass a woman hunched beside a brazier, stirring something thick inside a blackened pot. She doesn't look up, just mutters in rhythm with the spoon. You can't smell what she's cooking, but your stomach growls anyway. Another turn, and you nearly collide with a curtainice. A curtain, not a door made of mismatched fabric scraps. Someone on the other side laughs, then gasps, then nothing. You keep walking. This isn't a place for pausing. On a wooden crate, stacked 3 high, a set of clay bottles glow faintly in the dark. No one's guarding them. One of them pulses just once, like a heartbeat. You don't touch. You pass a stall with no goods at all, just a small sign that reads, "We trade in things you forgot." You stop. Before you can even ask, a figure steps out from the shadows. Their face is veiled, their hands gloved in leather, and their voice is both young and ancient. You left something behind, last night. Or was it last life? You don't answer. Don't need to. Somehow, they hand you something soft, wrapped in thin parchment. It smells like honey and burnt rosemary. You're too afraid to unwrap it. You tuck it into your coat, next to your ribs. Ahead, the lanterns dim even further. The cat wins between your legs. The road curves again, and suddenly you hear singing far away, yet strangely close. as if coming from your own breath. And then just for a second you swear the steam in the air curls into letters. A word you recognize. A name you'd forgotten. The bread is gone now. The ledge is empty. And so, like everyone else, you keep walking. You follow the singing not with your feet, but with your breath. It isn't a song you know. It has no words, just long, drifting notes that hover like fog over snow. Each sound seems to open a door, not in the market but in you. Doors you hadn't known were shut. You pass beneath a crooked arch of scorched wood. A string of tiny bells hangs above, but none of them ring. The path here twists in tighter curls, like a snail shell. The stalls are low, shadowed, quieter. This is where the real trading happens, where things are bought not with money, but with silence, with nods, and sometimes trust you don't have. For your left, someone clicks their tongue. You turn. It's a man with no eyebrows. His coat is too large, the seams held together with copper thread. He opens one side like a curtain and shows you what's tucked inside, a roll of velvet the colour of dried blood, a small bottle with a cork scorched black, and something wrapped in silk that pulses faintly. Die, he says. Banned in 4 kingdoms, deadly in 2. You blink, but has already turned. The coat closes, the offer is gone. Another missed trade. A young girl, maybe 10, rushes past you, barefoot and clutching something tight in her arms. It's wrapped in wool and warm enough to steam. She glances over her shoulder, then disappears between 2 stacks of crates. A second later, a woman barrels past, panting, dress ripped at the sleeve, muttering curses in a language you almost understand. You step aside. At the next corner, a man crouches near a glowing brazier. He's selling things he shouldn't have: tiny glass tubes, seeds no larger than a fingernail, powders in cloth bundles sealed with wax. He grins with only half a mouth. The other side is stitched closed with black thread. You move on. To your right, a stall built from scavenged coffin wood leans into the alley. Hanging from its beams are strings of teeth, human, maybe, maybe not. You don't ask. The merchant is asleep, snoring into a fur-lined hood. On his table are jars full of oil. Floating in one of them is something that looks like an ear. In another, a shriveled bird claw clenched around a coin. Behind the stall, half in shadow, you see a banner stitched from sackcloth. What's not allowed in daylight blooms by lantern. You don't know why, but your hands are cold now, even inside your gloves. Farther along, a woman whispers to a group huddled around her fire. She sells rope, just rope, but the way she sells it makes your spine crawl. This one held a thief before he sang, she says softly, lifting a coil the colour of soot. This one never snapped, even when begged to. This one? This one came back, though the man it held did not. No one speaks. The group begins to scatter. You realise she's now looking at you. She offers a piece for free. You decline. And just when you think nothing else could surprise you, you smell something familiar: bread. Fresh again. Still warm. You spin toward the scent. There it is, on another ledge. Same shape. Same steam. But this time, beside it, a coin. You step closer. The coin is made of wood, painted gold, and smells faintly of vinegar. A quiet voice behind you says, "That's mine." You turn slowly. It's the girl from before. The one who ran barefoot. Her arms are empty now, her face pale from cold or fright or both. She looks up at you with eyes that seem much older than they should. "Can I have it back?" She whispers, "He gave it to me, but I dropped it. He'll be angry." You hand it to her. She doesn't smile. She takes the coin, places it on her tongue, and swallows. The bread. Gone again. You stand there for a moment, unmoving. The girl disappears into the dark with no sound, no footsteps, just a gust of wind left in her wake. You're not sure if you're cold or just afraid now. The crowd has thinned. Or maybe you've walked somewhere people aren't supposed to gather. The market here feels like memory, soft at the edges, not quite real, not quite safe. That's when you notice the smell. It's faint at first, tucked beneath the cold and the wood smoke. But it grows stronger with each breath, sweet, herbal, like rosemary left too long in the sun. You follow it around a corner into a narrow alley where only one stall stands, lit by a single candle balanced inside a shell of yellowed bone. The woman behind it is small and hunched, her back bent like the branches of an old apple tree. Her skin is the color of ashes, her fingers long and stained, her eyes hidden behind a veil of thin lace. She's not selling anything you recognize. On the table are stacks of something wrapped in black cloth, and beside them, a bowl of dried flowers. A sign painted in something too dark to be in creeds: soap, 1 silver, or 1 secret. You pause. She speaks without looking at you. Take 1. You'll need it, before long. You reach out carefully, lifting the edge of one cloth. Inside is a smooth bar, pale green, marbled with swirls of something darker. It smells clean. Too clean. Like water from a spring you've never seen. That one's from mountain snow, she murmurs. The kind that melts only once, for only one person. You set it down. From behind her, a child coughs. You hadn't seen him. Is curled beneath a blanket, face pale and glistening with sweat. She doesn't move toward him. She doesn't stop you from noticing. Instead, she asks, "What would you trade for it?" You hesitate. She nods as if Yod said something. "Secrets are better than coins," she continues. They linger longer. They rot slower. A gust of wind makes the candle flicker. You notice that the other soaps, maybe 10 in total, each have a faint sigil carved into the bottom. Some look like birds. Others like tears. You say, quietly, "Do people come back for more?" She answers with a sound that might be a laugh. Or a song. Or both. "No one comes back," she says. "Only the scent remains." Behind you, a man bumps your shoulder as he walks past. He stops, sniffing the air. He turns sharply and points at the stall. Again. He growls. "I thought she was burned 3 winters ago." The woman doesn't flinch. The second man approaches, hand on his belt where a knife should be. She's got them whispering again. He says to no one. Look at the boyzik with something unnatural. You take a step back. The first man squints at you. "You touched her things?" You don't answer. They move forward. The woman leans slightly forward and blows out the candle. Darkness folds around the stall like a curtain, thick and absolute. You blink. When your eyes adjust, the table is empty. The boy is gone. The woman is gone. The smell is gone. Only 1 bar of soap remains, sitting neatly on the edge of the crate. It's still warm. And somehow, your hands are wet. You wipe your hands on your coat, but they don't feel dry. It's not water exactly. The dampness clings, thick and slow like syrup, and it carries a scent faintly metallic, faintly sweet. You don't want to know more. You move on. The next bend in the market is wider, brighter, louder. You weren't expecting that. It's as if the alley has exhaled, and suddenly the world is full of sound, clattering pans, sloshing ladles, someone shouting over steam. You're surrounded by firelight and the aroma of food. But nothing here smells quite right. You pass a stall made of broken wagon wheels and patched leather, where a heavy iron pot bubbles over flames. A man in a wide-brimmed hat stirs it with a bone, whistling softly through the gap in his teeth. You peek into the pot. Floating in the broth are 3 duck tongues and something that might be a sheep's eye. He grins at you. "Late special," he says. "Eyes are lucky if you eat sem with your eyes closed." You step away, and fast. Next stall. A young woman with soot-smudged cheeks flips discs of something onto flat stones. They sizzle and crackle. The edges curl black. She sprinkles them with crushed herbs and something red, maybe spice, maybe dried blood. She catches your eye. "Bacon cakes," she says. "2 for 1 if you don't ask what's in 'em." You don't ask. Farther down, a cloth tent with smoke seeping from its seams. You duck inside. It's warmer here. The air smells thick-spiced, savory, sour all at once. A woman tends several pots at once, her hands moving like a dancer's. One pot holds small white cubes that jiggle with every boil. Another contains a dark paste she stirs with a stick carved like a spoon. But not quite. Someone beside you murmurs, "That's blood pudding boiled in brine." Keeps the dreams away. You turn to see a man with a crooked beard chewing something that crunches loudly. The cook looks up. "Want a bite?" she offers, handing you a skewer. You glance down. Something gelatinous, quivering, brown at the edges. Before you can respond, a child behind you starts to retch. No one helps. Someone laughs. Not kindly. You hand the skewer back. Outside again, the air tastes fresher, but only because you've forgotten what normal is. You wipe your mouth even though you haven't eaten. Then comes the smell of something sweet. You follow it. A stall made from wine barrels. A woman in a shawl is frying dough over hot coals, shaping them into coils and flowers, then dipping them in syrup so dark it looks like ink. You watch as she presses one into a stranger's hand. He bites it, moans softly, and leans against the post like he's remembering something painful and wonderful all at once. She sees you. No meat, she says. No tricks. Sugar and memory. You almost believe her. You reach for one, but stop. Because just past her stall, barely visible in the rising steam, is a man squatting near the gutter. He's eating something straight from his hands, tearing at it like an animal. You can't see what it is. But you hear the crunch, and the sound is wrong. He notices you watching. He grins. There's something in his teeth. The candy coil slips from your fingers and falls into the snow. The woman in the shawl gently scoops it up, blows off the snow, and places it back onto the tray. "No waste here," she whispers. "Everything feeds something." You press your lips together and walk away. The sugar still clings faintly to your fingertips, even though you never really took a bite. Your stomach tightens not from hunger now, but from knowing you almost ate something meant for someone or something else. The path narrows again, curving between leaning walls of crates and hanging canvas. This part of the market is quiet and not silent, but soft. You hear the hush of careful voices, the muffled jingle of small coins, the sound of wood scraping wood. You've wandered into the trading stalls, but not the kind for food or fabric. Here, people trade things that can't be held for long. Things you probably shouldn't hold at all. At the first booth, two men sit across from each other. One has a stack of brass coins, the other just a single copper ring and a long, quiet stare. The man with the coins speaks first. "5 for your memory of her voice," he says. The second man blinks slowly, then nods. A thin woman behind the booth leans forward, holding a vial of something pale and shimmering. The man breathes out and the vial fills. They both stand. The deal is done. No hands shook. No names spoken. You keep walking. The next stall is surrounded by hanging cloth, but between two curtains you catch a glimpse of a woman holding out a bundle wrapped in old silk. "It's genuine," she insists. "Seventh son's coin. It never loses weight." You hear laughter. Low and sharp. A man steps forward from the crowd, hands her something flat. A playing card. No too thick. You realize it's a wooden coin, painted gold, just like the one the girl swallowed. The woman gasps, then nods. They trade. You pause to check your own pockets. Your fingers brush something you didn't place there. A small disc, warm and smooth. You don't pull it out. You don't want to know. To your right, a stall that looks more like a cage. A boy no older than 15 is holding court there, sitting on a throne made of scavenged pews. He holds a long pole carved with symbols and offers a deal to each person in line. 3 coins for a lie, he says. 5 for a truth. Someone ahead of you steps forward. "I want to buy silence." The boy grins. 10. The man pays without hesitation. The boy points to a jar behind him filled with water, and inside it, a floating tongue. You don't ask if it's real. At the edge of this row, one last stall glows faintly with blue fire. A woman stands behind it, eyes closed, arms folded. Before her is a pile of small, identical boxes. No labels. No prices. Just a sign written in neat script, payment, one risk. You're about to move on when someone beside you steps forward. He whispers something into her ear. She nods, then hands him a box. He opens it right there. Inside, a pair of gloves woven, sturdy, embroidered with ivy leaves. They tremble in his hands like they remember something. He puts them on and begins to cry. You turn away. But something catches your eye. One last booth, almost hidden. It has no wares, no signs. Just an old woman sitting cross-legged beside a cracked table. On it sits a single coin, shaped like a teardrop, with a hole in the center. You approach. She looks at you. Try it, she says. See what it buys. You pick it up. It's cold. Heavier than it should be. Blink. She's gone. So is the table. You're standing alone. The coin's still in your hand. You turn the coin over in your palm. It's not quite metal. Not quite stone. It hums faintly like breath against skin, or a whisper buried under snow. You hold it up to the lantern light and look through the hole at its center. The world beyond it shimmers for just a second, as if you've glimpsed a version of this place where everything is raw, or more right than you're ready to admit. You slip it into your pocket. It disappears into the folds without a sound. The market narrows again, but this time it doesn't feel crowded, it feels empty. Stalls grow further apart. People no longer linger, no longer haggle. Pass by quickly, shoulders hunched, eyes lowered. It's the only place in the market where no one speaks above a whisper. Except for him. You hear him long before you see him. His voice rises and falls like a tide, not shouting, not quite singing either. Is speaking to someone. Then to no one. Then to something you can't see. And when you round the corner, there he is. He's seated on the ground beside a cracked stone pillar, legs crossed, bare feet dirty and frostbitten. His clothes are layered like they've been scavenged from 5 different centuries. One of his sleeves is a torn monk's robe. The other, a nobleman's coat turned inside out, is surrounded by an audience of cats, not 1 or 2 but dozens, all black, all sitting perfectly still, watching him, and now, watching you. He smiles. Come to listen? He asks. They always listen, especially the ones with the tails. You don't answer. He nods to himself. That's all right. You've been here before. In another market, in another dream. You start to back away, but his tone sharpens suddenly. Careful now. That coin in your pocket, it remembers. Your hand twitches. He grins wider. The cats blink in unison. Behind him, a tattered banner flaps lazily in the still air. It reads, Oracle of Lost Things, but half the letters are faded, scratched out, or rewritten by a child's hand. He pulls a folded piece of parchment from his boot and tosses it toward you. It lands at your feet, surprisingly heavy. You don't pick it up. You will, he murmurs. Later, a boy passing by mutters under his breath, don't look at him. Don't talk to him. He knows too much. And too little. But it's too late. The man is standing now, arms outstretched, and the cats scatter. You dropped something earlier, he calls out, voice low but penetrating. Or maybe you will soon. Or maybe you already did. Time's thin in here. He tilts his head and looks directly at you. Have you seen the girl yet? The one with the coin? Your heart skips. She's not what you think, but neither are you. And then he kneels, cups his hands, and begins whispering again to the snow, to the earth, to something beneath the market that listens with ancient ears. You walk away. Don't look back. But long after, you realize you're whispering too, and you don't know why. You slow your steps. The crowd thickens again, but differently this time, and not the shoving, shouting massive before, but something quieter. Solar. You find yourself surrounded by children. Not playing. Not laughing. Just existing. They're everywhere now, curled beneath blankets made of patched grain sacks, sitting on crates too tall for their legs, walking in small, determined groups with baskets larger than their torsos. Their eyes follow you not with fear, but with something older. Something that doesn't belong to childhood. One girl, maybe 7, holds out a half-eaten apple. "Trade?" she asks, voice rasped. You shake your head, and she shrugs as if she expected no better. Across the path, a boy in a threadbare coat sits beside a stack of worn-out shoes. None match. Some are broken beyond repair. Still, he calls out to passers-by, "Left shoes only. Last pairs of the left, right one's gone in the fire." A toddler clings to his side, fast asleep. You think it's his sister, until another child pulls her away and takes her place, curling beneath his arm like a kitten finding a new warm spot. You pass a line of makeshift stalls made from crates and sticks. Here, children barter with each other chalk for string, buttons for pebbles polished smooth. One boy offers a crumpled drawing in exchange for half a piece of bread. The girl he trades with nods, takes the paper and tucks it into her coat like it's gold. A tall girl too tall for her age walks with a limp. You watch her kneel and tie rags around the feet of a younger boy. "You'll freeze," she mutters. He says nothing. She ties tighter. Nearby, a group of children crouch in a loose circle. In the center, a tiny fire smokes in a broken bowl. They're cooking something or pretending to. One stirs with a stick. Another hums. You step closer. "What are you making?" you ask gently. A boy with wide, too old eyes looks up. "Soup for tomorrow," he says. "We're saving it in our heads until we find water." No one laughs. Behind them, a girl draws shapes in the frost with her finger circles, stars, something like letters. They disappear as fast as she writes them, but she doesn't stop. Then you hear a lullaby. Quiet. Off-key. It's coming from the corner. A woman sits there, back against a barrel, her arms wrapped around a baby swaddled in burlap. She rocks, slowly, singing just under her breath. You lean closer and realize she's barely older than 15. The baby stirs. Not crying, just shifting in sleep. The girl doesn't meet your gaze, doesn't ask for anything. Her eyes are distant, as if she's already far away from here, someplace warmer, quieter, where the lullaby finishes itself. You offer a nod. She doesn't return it. Before you leave this part of the market, a small boy runs past and tugs your sleeve. He holds out a pebble. Perfectly smooth. Slightly warm. "For luck," he says. "It works once. Use it slow." You take it. It weighs nothing. But your heart, somehow, weighs more. You tuck the pebble into your coat pocket, beside the coin and the folded paper you still haven't opened. All of it presses gently against your ribs, a collection of things you never meant to carry. And then the wind changes. It's subtle at first, like the shift in a dream. A cold gust brushes your cheek, carrying something sharp, something you've smelled before but can't quite place. The air grows dense, perfumed with layers of scent stacked atop one another: rose water and rot, frankincense and sweat, cinnamon and something chemical unfamiliar, artificial in a world made of smoke and mud. This isn't the smell of food or fire. This is the scent of secrets. You follow it instinctively. The path leads between two sagging tents held up by bones instead of poles. Woman stands just ahead, unmoving. She wears a cloak of faded blue velvet, its edges singed and lined with pearls that are cracked and brown. Her face is powdered white, her lips drawn sharp with ash. As you pass her, she lifts her hand and flicks her wrist just once. A single drop of liquid falls from her fingers to the ground. It sizzles. The scent blossoms instantly. Your throat tightens. You turn away and find yourself before a stall made of iron bars and stained velvet. Inside, rows of tiny bottles rest in shallow trays of sand. Each glows faintly under the lantern light, in colors you've never seen: iridescent blue, bruised gold, rusted pink, bone white. None are labelled. The sign above reads, "Scented by the sin." The woman behind the table smiles at you. Her teeth are perfect. Too perfect. The hands are gloved. You looking to disappear? She asks softly. You don't answer. She gestures toward the bottles. Each of these tells someone else's story. But if you wear one, it becomes yours. You lean closer. One bottle smells like burnt sugar and hot iron. Another like thunder. One reeks of old paper and tears. A boy steps forward beside you. He's barely 15, wearing a coat too big for his frame. He points at a bottle the color of smoke. She nods, uncorks it, and waves the scent toward his face. He blinks and begins to tremble. "I know this," he whispers. "This is my mother. She wore this the night he doesn't finish." The woman recorks the bottle and places it gently into his hands. "No charge," she murmurs. Memory pays well. You move on before your nose leads your heart somewhere it can't return from. But the smell clings. Even as you try to shake it, it follows you like steam under skin. You catch yourself remembering people you haven't thought of in years, an old friend, a lost teacher, someone whose voice you forgot until now. Ahead, another man is being searched by two cloaked guards, market watchers, maybe. They're sniffing his sleeves, holding a cloth to his face. This one reeks of jasmine, one growls. Wasn't no jasmine in this city for years. Not unless you stole it. The man protests, but the guards drag him into the shadows. You don't wait to see what happens next. Round the corner, a cart displays solid perfume cakes carved into coins. The child offers one to you, holding it in a bit of linen. "Just smell it," she says. You do. It smells like warmth. Like the exact moment you first opened your eyes this morning, when everything was still quiet. Like the promise of something kind. You hand it back. Silently. She nods as if you had said thank you. And you wonder who decides which smells are crimes, which ones are magic. You wonder how long yours will linger in the air once you leave. The scent trails behind you like a ribbon, tugging at your thoughts. But here, in this part of the market, no one smells like anything. It's clean. Too clean. You feel it before you see it. Hush, the space, the sense that the stalls around you are watching, even though they have no eyes. And then, you spot them. The covered ones. They stand beneath canopies draped in velvet and shadow. Their faces are hidden. Their hands gloved in silk. They do not call to passers-by. They do not haggle. They wait. This is where the quotes come, and they do not shop. They select. A figure stands motionless beside a cart lined with fur. Their cloak is stitched with silver thread, too fine for this place. You watch as they raise one hand and point to a bundle. The merchant, a girl no older than 16, lifts it carefully. Their hands tremble. Inside the bundle, a glass vial, dark red, sealed with wax bearing a royal crest. She doesn't speak. She bows. The figure slips her something, not coins. Not even a glance. Just a folded square of parchment, yellowed and creased. The deal is done. You look around. Another stall, half hidden behind a curtain of bells that do not ring, sells nothing visible. But the air is tense. You see people pass, envelopes under the table. Small wooden tokens. A feather. A ring. One man drops a single teardrop into a jar. The woman behind the stall nods solemnly. Someone brushes past you. You flinch. She's tall, wearing a veil that trails along the ground like a shadow. In her hand is a cloth bundle wrapped tight. You glimpse a flicker of metal beneath the folds. Her voice is low but distinct. "Is it still fresh?" The merchant hesitates, then nods once. She hands over the bundle, and the woman disappears into the crowd like smoke. Further on, a tent glows dimly from within. Through a narrow slit, you see rows of shelves not with goods, but with names, carved onto tiny plaques, each one glowing faintly. You step closer. A woman appears at the flap, her skin dusted with ash, her voice dry as old parchment. Looking to borrow an identity, she asks. Only for a night, of course. You don't answer. She continues anyway. They say if you take a name that isn't yours, you dream someone else's dreams. Some say that's the only way to sleep peacefully. You walk on. But your pace slows when you spot the last stall in the row. It's small. Modest. Lit only by a hanging lamp filled with blue flame. A nobleman stands there, dressed in deep maroon. His boots polished, his gloves spotless. On the table before him, a tangle of silver chains, each holding a different locket. You catch a glimpse inside one as the flame flickers a face. A child's drawing. A handprint in ink. A lock of hair. He selects one without hesitation, tucks it into his coat, and turns away. You meet eyes for a brief second, and for that second, you feel nothing from him. No heat. No sound. No scent. He is a space where something used to be, and you wonder how many things in this market were once people. How many people, now, are just things. You try to shake the thought loose, but it follows you, clings like steam to skin. The path ahead narrows, then opens again into a cluttered circle of vendors and flickering firelight. This place feels different. Not sacred. Not solemn. Chaotic. There's motion everywhere. People shoulder past each other. Stall keepers shout, laugh, wave, argue. It almost feels like a real market again until you realize no one is smiling. They're too focused. Too tense. Every glance here is sharp, every hand clutched tightly around a pouch, a basket, a deal. You wrap your fingers around your own coat pocket without meaning to. That's when you feel it. Your coin is gone. You stop. You check again. Deeper. Slower. Apple. Still there. Folded paper. Still there. Your eyes scan the crowd. A woman shrieks, not in pain, surprise. A loaf of bread has vanished from her hands, mid-bite. She stares at her fingers like they've betrayed her. A small boy runs past, arms full of something. Not hers. Not yours. Something shifts behind you. You turn and catch a flash of movement, a hand pulling back into a sleeve, too fast, too quiet. Then someone grabs your wrist. You spin. A man stands before you, grinning wide. Too wide. Teeth uneven, nose crooked from too many fights or not enough healing. He wears a patchwork coat that jingles with tiny bells, none of which make a sound. You dropped something, he purrs. In his palm, your coin. Except it isn't. It's a different shape now. Elongated. The hole in the center is gone. In its place, a deep indentation, as if someone pressed a thumb into molten metal and let it cool. You start to speak. But he winks. No worries, friend. The market remembers. Then he closes his hand, and just like that's gone, you blink. But someone else is already beside you. A girl with eyes like glass marbles and hair braided with bits of string. She leans in and whispers, they take what you don't hold tightly. You feel your pockets again. Everything's still there except, now, the folded paper is warm. As if it, too, has noticed the theft. A shout rises from the far side of the circle. You follow the sound, so does everyone else. A man is on his knees, yelling in a language you don't know. Is flailing, searching the snow around him. People give him a wide berth. He lost his name. Someone mutters. Another voice adds, no one pick it up if you find it. They cling. You pause at the edge of the crowd. A merchant nearby watches with interest, spinning a thin silver chain around her fingers. On the end of the chain, a tiny pouch that jingles softly. She raises her eyebrows at you. Care to make sure you don't lose something too? She asks. Protection's cheap, but not free. You don't answer. You step back into the shadows. And that's when you notice a boy no older than 9 reaching gently toward a basket left unattended, his fingers close around a bit of bread. Before he can pull away, a hand thin, fast wrong shoots from under the stall and grabs his wrist. He yelps. A figure crawls out from beneath the table, draped in burlap and bones. No eyes. Just sockets. The hand releases the boy, but not the bread. The boy runs. The figure devours the piece in one bite. And then looks at you. Its head tilts. Slowly. Back away. And suddenly you understand, in this part of the market, nothing is really yours. Everything is borrowed. Everything can vanish. Even you. You walk faster now. Not running, but just barely. The ground beneath your feet has changed. It's softer. Spothier. The packed snow has given way to something like moss, or thick layers of cloth, or maybe old paper soaked through with time. Each step sinks slightly. The sound is muffled. Everything is quieter here, but not silent. You hear it first as a rhythm, soft, deliberate. Zay. Ag. Zay. Ag. Then the cluck of a bird. A strange sound in the cold. Too sharp. Too alive. You turn the corner. And there he is. The man with the limp. And the chicken. Is tall, impossibly so, with shoulders like sagging shelves and arms that hang just too long. One leg moves normally. The other drags behind him, like it no longer belongs. He leans on a crooked walking stick carved with spiral shapes, the wood worn smooth by user by something else. At his side walks a chicken. It doesn't peck, doesn't flutter. It just walks, perfectly in step. Its feathers are glossy, black as ink, and not a single one is out of place. Its eyes are bright. Too bright. They reflect the lamplight like glass marbles. You stop. So does he. So he says, voice low and dry. You've made it this far. You don't respond. He doesn't expect you to. She has been watching you, he murmurs, gesturing slightly with his chin toward the bird. She doesn't watch many. Not anymore. The chicken turns its head to look at you directly. Its eyes don't blink. They study. She's older than me. You know, the man continues. Been walking markets like this since before your kind knew how to keep fire. She's outlived kings. Cursed a few. He leans closer. You catch the scent of cinnamon and dust and something bitter. They say if she ever stops walking, the world does too. You laugh nervously. He doesn't. The chicken takes a step forward. You take one back. Ah, he says, grinning. She likes you. That's rare. Or maybe she's hungry. Hard to tell. He crouches, painfully, one joint at a time, and opens a small satchel at his side. Inside, bits of cloth, what looks like teeth, and yes, more coins. Dozens of them. All shapes. All with different holes. He holds one up. Yours. He says, it's your coin. The real one. The first one. With the smooth hole in the center, and the strange hum. You reach for it. He snaps his fingers, and the chicken hops into his arms. In a single fluid motion, it swallows the coin. Oh. Then hops back down, calmly. You stare. He shrugs. She keeps the important things. You'll get it back. Maybe. The chicken struts toward you. You hold your breath. It circles once. Twice. Then pecks softly at your boot. And walks away. The man follows, dragging his foot behind him, stick tapping out a rhythm that stays with you long after he's gone. As he rounds the corner, he looks back just once. Don't look into her eyes again, he warns. Not twice. Not if you want to stay only partly cursed. He disappears into the dark, and the next moment, it's like he was never there. Except you can still feel the weight of the coin in your pocket, even though you watched it vanish. You stay still for a long time after he vanishes. Even the market seems to pause, holding its breath just long enough for you to wonder whether the rhythm of your steps might change now, whether you might begin to limp. You walk slower now. Every sound feels sharper. You notice creaks in the wood, whispers in the smoke. The lamps seem dimmer. Then, just ahead, voices, resistance, fast, heated. You turn the corner and nearly collide with the edge of a crowd. They're circled around two women. Both are shouting. Both furious. The crowd watches, not with concern, but curiosity. At their feet, a square of fabric faded, torn, nothing special. But from the way they're fighting, it might as well be gold. I saw it first, one snarls. You touched it second, the other hisses. The object in question. A piece of linen. Rough spun. Probably not even clean. But there's a shine in the way the firelight catches on it. Maybe it's not cloth. Maybe it's a symbol. Maybe it belonged to someone important. Or maybe it's just a reason. One of them lunges. The other grabs a cooking pan from a nearby stall. The clang rings through the air. Still, no one intervenes. Instead, a vendor calls out cheerfully, 3 copper on the short one. Laughter ripples through the crowd. You step back, but someone's behind you. First proper entertainment all night, he says with a grin. Better than the puppet show. You glance to the side and see what he means. A nearby booth has folded its curtain closed. The puppeteer watches the brawl with a paper cup in hand. Back in the circle, the shorter woman now has the cloth clenched in her fist. The taller one grabs it with both hands. It rips leanly, horribly. There's silence. Then the shorter woman starts to laugh. Not nicely. Not sanely. She drops her half of the cloth and clutches her belly, wheezing with delight. The other woman, wide-eyed, trembling, starts to cry. And without a word, the crowd disperses. No resolution. No winner. Just 2 women and 2 rags. You step forward cautiously, toward the cloth left behind. You're about to pick it up when a voice behind you murmurs, "Dunt." It remembers everything. You turn. No one there. Just the cloth, fluttering slightly as if breathing. You move on. Past the broken crates, the spilled soup, the scorched candle stubs. The market feels more jagged now, like teeth. As if the illusion of peace has fractured. You pass a man dabbing blood from his lip with the corner of his sleeve. He grins at you. She was right about the cloth, he says. It used to belong to someone royal. Or cursed. Or both. You say nothing. But the noise from the fight seems to echo longer than it should, circling the corners of the market like smoke looking for a chimney. As you leave the scene behind, you realize your hand is clenched. You open it. Slowly. You're holding a thread. Which? You don't remember picking it up. You roll the thread between your fingers. It's soft, but strong, like it could hold weight well beyond its size. You think about the women, the torn cloth, the strange laughter that followed. You tuck the thread into your coat, beside everything else you've collected without meaning to. Head. The path veers slightly to the left and descends. It feels like stepping into a hollowed-out part of the world. The lamps hang lower here, swinging gently as if breathing. The stalls are no longer built from crates and bones, but from silence. There's no shouting in this part of the market. No signs. No prices. Just trade. At the first stall, an old man with a bent spine holds up a basket of small, crumbling candles. You watch as a woman approaches and places a single earring in his palm, a pearl, scuffed and yellowed. He nods and hands her a candle. She lights it right there. The flame flickers, not yellow but deep green. And for a moment, she looks less tired. Next, a boy no taller than your elbow offers a clay bowl to a merchant seated on the ground. Inside the bowl, 3 smooth stones, 1 chipped marble, and a tiny bundle of dried lavender. The merchant, without a word, reaches into a pouch and gives the boy a wooden flute with 1 hole. He plays it as he walks away. The sound is hollow, but kind. You drift forward, pausing at a table where a woman sorts bundles of herbs, feathers, bits of shell. The customer beside you places a folded paper on the table. It opens itself. Inside, a single sentence, handwritten in ink. The merchant reads it, folds it again, and tucks it into her coat. She hands over a small cloth pouch. You don't see what's inside, but the customer clutches it like it matters. At the next stall, someone tries to pay with coins. The merchant frowns, shakes her head. No value, she whispers. The buyer stares, confused. Got anything warm? She asks. Got anything honest? He doesn't. She waves him away. You keep walking. You pass a girl offering a bird feather in exchange for a blessing. A boy trades a secret he hasn't told yet for a thread of gold. A man gives a full belly laugh to a merchant with no teeth and walks away with a jar of something glowing. It's not about money here. It's about weight. About what you're willing to give. A soft voice beside you. Want to trade? You turn. The child stands there, barefoot, cheeks flushed with cold. She holds out a single glove, wool, fingerless, patched. In her other hand, nothing. What for? You ask. She shrugs. Whatever you've got. You hesitate. Then you reach into your pocket and give her the red thread. She takes it with reverence, like it's sacred. In return, she presses the glove into your palm. It's warm. Still warm. You slip it on. It fits. Perfectly. She smiles. You're ready now. Then she turns and vanishes between two barrels. You call after her, but she's gone. You glance down at the glove and notice that stitched into the cuff, in faded thread, is a word. Return. You don't know what it means yet, but it feels like a promise or a warning. The glove hugs your hand as if it's always been yours. You flex your fingers. The fabric moves with you, quiet and sure, as if it remembers shapes you haven't made yet. You feel steadier somehow, more rooted. Or maybe just noticed. You drift forward, guided by nothing but sound. Not voices, not footsteps, just a melody. It floats through the market like mist threading through gaps in the canvas, brushing against crates and coals, nudging people into stillness. It's not beautiful, not polished, but it carries something deeper than notes. Sounds like truth. War. Bruised. Carried too long. You follow it. At the edge of the market, where the firelight dims and the frost returns to the ground, you find him. The last singer. He sits cross-legged on a patch of old wool, his back to a broken cart wheel. A cracked lyre resting in his lap. The strings a mismatch, a gut, twine, wire, hair, but they hold. His fingers move slowly, deliberately, coaxing sound from nothing. His eyes are closed. But he sings as if he's seen everything. The people around him do not speak. They sit in silence, wrapped in coats and quiet. One child rests her head against her father's shoulder. A vendor closes his stall, kneels, and weeps without sound. You sit too. You don't remember choosing to. The song wins through you, finding pieces you thought long buried, shadows of grief, flashes of joy, the ache of something nearly remembered. His voice is cracked, imperfect, and filled with something rare, permission. To rest, to feel, to forget. In his arms, a child sleeps, a girl, maybe 6, bundled in patchwork. She doesn't stir as he sings. She's curled against him like she's grown there. Between verses, he brushes a strand of hair from her cheek, then sings again. You don't understand the words, not all of them. Language slips between tongues, old and older, real and almost real. But the meaning hums under your skin. You close your eyes, and for a while, you forget the coin. You forget the chicken. You forget the soap, and the bread, and the whispers in the steam. You remember your name. Just once. Just long enough to let it go. When the song ends, no one claps. No one speaks. He opens his eyes. looks straight at you, and smiles. It's not wide, not showy, just real. Then he begins to pack the lyre away, one string at a time, with the care of someone tucking a memory into bed. The child stirs. He lifts her gently, stands, and nods to the silent circle. Then walks into the dark. You watch until he's gone. You don't know how long you've been sitting there. But when you rise, the frost crunches under your boots again, and the glove on your hand feels even warmer. Like someone said goodbye, and meant it. You're not sure what time it is anymore. Not that it matters. The sky above the market is still dark, but the darkness feels softer, now thinner somehow. The kind that comes just before dawn, when the stars hesitate and the world breathes between sleep and waking. You begin to walk again. Slowly. Not searching. Just easing forward. Around you, the market starts to shift. Some stalls have gone quiet. Their fires, now embers. Others are being packed by hands you didn't see arrive quiet. Practiced. Fast. Fabric is folded. Bones are stacked. Bottles tucked into worn satchels. It's not closing, exactly. It's dissolving. Like a dream retreating behind eyelids, you pass the bread stall again where it should be. The stone ledge is empty. No steam. No loaf. Just a warm spot where it once rested. Next, this feng table. The crates, the herbs, the candle vanished as if they were never there. But the air still carries a trace of something clean, something green. And your hands, still faintly damp. You glance down, the glove on your left hand, the soft bare skin of your right. Balance. In the distance, a bell rings once. Low. Not a warning. Not a call. Just a note. You keep walking. You find yourself back where it began, the outer curve of the market, near the wool curtain and the frozen steps. Lamps flicker here, as if unsure whether to stay lit. Footprints in the snow lead in every direction, like tangled roots of a memory trying to grow. You step forward. Then pause. The old woman from before, the one with the soap, or maybe the name, or maybe both, stands near a stack of crates. She holds nothing. Says nothing. But she watches you with something close to kindness. Or regret. You nod. She does not nod back. Instead, she whispers, barely audible over the wind, "Next time, bring less." You blink. She's gone. Only the wind remains. It carries smells you know now: ash, sugar, oil, bread, candle smoke, and old breath. You reach the market's edge. There's no gate. No sign. Just a turn in the path and the sense that, beyond it, things go back to how they were: boots on packed earth, snow underfoot, a world that doesn't barter in secrets. You take a deep breath. The glove tightens slightly, as if saying goodbye. The thread in your pocket warms one last time. You take the pebbleeth one the boy gave you and hold it tight. Then, you step through. Behind you, the market exhales. Its lanterns blink out, one by one. Its voices quiet. Its heartbeat slows. But just before the last light fades, you hear a sound. Soft. Familiar. A cluck. You turn, nothing there. Just the wind. Just your footprints. Just the warmth in your coat that shouldn't still be there. You walk. And walk. And at some point, hours or minutes later, you realize something strange. The coin has returned. It's in your pocket again. Exactly the way it was. And you don't remember when. But you smile. Because maybe, just maybe, the market comes with you now. Maybe it always does. Maybe that's how it finds its way back. To those who still owe a trade. To those who still remember the smell of things they never truly touched. To those who still hear music in the quiet places. So you. And even as you reach your door, even as you pull off your boots and slip beneath familiar blankets, you catch one last scent in the air: warm bread. And far away, a single, tiny bell rings once. Then silence.